Well, it's very nice to be here in this nice setting. I like this setting as it is, where you see the people around you instead of looking in a dark hole and there's no connection with people. As Peter said, my company is called Be As You Are, and it has a reason. Behave as you are, be as you are. And it's an international creative consultancy in branding and communications, and we have offices in Amsterdam, Shanghai and Sao Paulo, mainly aiming at international clients, and so far the commercial. What I like to talk about is how brands have developed over the last decades, and especially over the last decade, and I think I have a view of where we may be heading at. And I've called this speech for today that we should go from macro to multi-micro. A thing corporate companies probably don't like to hear that much, because everybody is interested in size, size, size. Let me go back. How have we developed? And this was in fact the start of my book. I was doing a lot of clients in the international marketing scene. I gave a lot of lectures in marketing, and this was what was classic in marketing literature. How did companies grow? They started as product-driven company. Somebody could make something. Then other competitors could more or less make the same thing, and then you move into the sales-oriented company. And that's also where the first advertising starts, making a glossier brochure for your car than the competition. And then we were to move into the marketing-driven phase. Don't look too much at those years. You know, it was 1956 when Kotler wrote the book Marketing. And by the way, it only came to Europe in 1965-70s, brought here by international advertising agencies. So the question always was, what may be the next phase? And that intrigued me, because I worked for companies where I got briefings that were only longer, but there was less in it. Yeah. Most of this briefing, I saw a sort of word covered over it, something like help. Yeah. Our board wants 12% more growth. How can we reach that? So I thought at that moment that maybe this marketing toolbox was at the end. And I think it is. Already then, most product innovations are cosmetic. I once spoke to a professor of university in the Netherlands who had counted that 50% of the success of companies was innovation. And then I had a talk with him, and I thought, my God, he is not true. Because if Fa shampoo changed a bottle from 200 to 150 milliliters and had a different cap, it was registered as innovation. And we know, we see so much of this stuff in the supermarkets every day. It's fake innovation. Nothing new, just a new pack, maybe another cap. Let's do detergent in powder, and now let's make it liquid, and then let's make it into a capsule. Yeah, it's still the same product in the same thing. So real USPs, once invented by the advertising agency Bates, unique selling points, hardly exist anymore. But I was surprised that briefings I got from clients always talked about USPs, but they were not. They were generic. When a competitor can do the same, it's not a USP anymore. And another thing, we heard this earlier today, with transparency and a marketing literate group of people in the world, people don't let themselves fool that often anymore. Yeah? People don't want to be targeted that much. And another thing, and I'm talking here today about the Western world, Concepting is working in the Western world, every market is oversaturated. Every average supermarket has 30 to 40,000 products on the shelves. How many do you take when you go there with your card? 50, 60. Yeah? So there's too much. And now something else is happening, and I've been inspired here by a philosopher, Mr. Arnold Cornelis, who wrote a book, very thick book, but I think he was right, and he wrote about the Western world. I think we all here know the pyramid of Maslow, where people, but also societies go through. First survive, then a roof above your head, then social society, and then the fourth layer was status and recognition. And we saw that a lot in the 80s and the 90s especially. Yeah? Buying the car to show your neighbors that you earn more. Yeah, a lot of show off in that. And what he states in this book is that now in the Western world, and especially in Western Europe, I think Europe is ahead here of America, we are slightly moving to the top of this Maslow pyramid. And that is about self-development. That's about authenticity. That's about other things. So he introduced the word mentalism. We have come from 30 years of materialism, and it's now gone to the extreme. And now mentalism is coming up. And you see especially young people now consuming a bit of both. Because you pay a lot to Greenpeace, but still you go with your parents skiing in a very expensive resort. That's luxury in our society. So, if we're moving away from materialism, but also from the fact that we have everything in the house, why should we continue to talk about products when people want something more with a mental meaning? So, my thesis is that brands, when this is true, should be more about a meaning, a conviction, have a vision, have a higher goal in life, whether it be in society or in your category. So, as I said, in fact, if you look at those layers of companies, how they developed, you could see that they matched more or less the Maslow pyramid. Yeah? First functional needs, then convenience a bit, then of course material needs, status and all this recognition stuff. And now we're going to mental needs, which is more about communication than about the products. So, another thing here. We should also go back to true relationships. I'm a marketeer. I've read a lot of marketing, but I think marketing people have managed to be further away from consumers than ever before. Yeah? Because in the past, there was this close relationship with the butcher in the little town, and the guy from the mill came, bring the bread and everything. It was a close community. Then in the sales-oriented phase, of course, the salesman came in between. There was a little bit more distance. And now in the marketing era, where marketeers are so proud of, we think we connect with the consumer, which is not true. Buying a lot of GRPs on television or even having 1 million likes on Facebook says nothing about true involvement. And mostly it's been a one-way show. So I think, and I will talk about some concepting brands, new brands, that I call concept brands, manage to be closer with consumers and have a higher involvement there. So, first I had a question mark, and then I had it. That was my eureka moment. The next phase is about concepts and communication, which means, and that's in fact what my book is about, that you can build a brand even before you have the product. So, of course, and I'm talking 2000. When I wrote the book, I was inspired by some brands. And sorry that I come back with Apple again, and I will not go too deep in it, but when I wrote my book, I think I was the only fan of Apple. Yeah, because Steve Jobs was sent out, he had just come back. Oh, there's another one here. Yeah, because of course there were problems. The vision maybe was too strong and they didn't organize themselves well. But I had a strong belief that there was something in the core of Apple, in the mentality that at one point would bring it further. Only stupid mistake I made, I should have bought shares then. Yeah, I would be a rich man now. So, but what Apple is about, they have fans, strong fans. And this is about the 10% that Peter just mentioned. When you have 10% of people in society that are absolutely in love with you, they become your ambassadors and they will bring in the late majority. And that's what you see in the development with Apple. And just to summarize very shortly what Apple is about. They have a very clear vision, not 3, but even 2 words. Think different. They say something like, you can become part of the design or creative community, instead of those old fart Microsoft, big blue IBM kind of world. Yeah, that's a choice. And then own stores, not to sell. Well, they do sell, but they don't sell. They inform, they help you, they are advisors, and as a result, you buy. And of course, people who are Apple fans connect. There's like 10 seminars every day in Apple stores, and that's why people feel more and more strengthened in their bond with this brand. You see hardly massive media campaigns. Yeah, sometimes a little bit, but not that much, because those fans already spread the new iPhone 6 through internet before it's in the stores. Yeah, so we see that the consumers become the brand. You could almost say it's the consumers who own the brand, not the company. And of course, all attention is given to the existing fans. Nike, talking about 3 Wörter. Just do it. Yeah, they're not selling shoes. They're helping you if you also want to run 5 kilometers. Yeah, in fact, Nike says, challenge yourself. Yeah, I'm a marathon runner and I ran in the Vondelpark in Amsterdam a couple of years ago, and I see a man in a wheelchair. And he had the Nike logo on the wheel. Yeah, which said that he wanted to be part of that community. 40 years ago, target groups of shoe brands was students, 20, 30 years of age, sportive people, because that is where sports started, organized sports. Now, I don't use the word target group anymore. I use the word following. The following of Nike is between 8 and 88. And they can come from every socio-demographic background. They still have massive products, by the way, but they don't push products all the time. And of course, Virgin at that time. I have a lot of marketing books. I never see Virgin as a good example. He's always been laughed at. This weirdy Richard Branson going into balloons and that kind of stuff. Now he has 300 companies in the world. He's the richest man almost in the UK. And if people in England would vote, who would you like to see as Mr. President, he is amongst the top 3. What you also see here is that this company is in fact not one company, but a fragmented organization of smaller companies. One of my examples where I see that we should move from macro to multi-micro. And it's also what you see here, a less corporate behavior in terms of corporate house style, logos, etc. Throw away, this is my advice to you anyway, throw away your house style book. It makes you the most boring company in town. Yeah? Play with your logo, as Virgin does. Virgin shares people's aversion to big market leaders. Did he ever do research for that? No. He felt that. Nobody likes market leaders. And in fact, he said, in every market where there's a dominant big market leader, we will be the party to make their life very miserable. And that's in fact what you see happening around Virgin. But also sort of mentality, why can't business be fun? Why always so serious? Yeah. And now he has these 400 franchisees. Very funny. Once I thought, which company would live longer, Apple or Virgin? My idea was Apple, because I thought if Mr. Branson one day falls out of the sky with one of his balloons, and Virgin is so much Mr. Branson, we may have a continuity problem here. But I spoke with Mr. Branson not too long ago, and then he gave me more background, and he said, listen guys, I am dyslexic. I can't even write. So from the beginning of my company, I had people around me to help me do this. And because we did what we did, other people came to us, hey, can we do please Virgin balloons in Germany? Hey, can I do please do Virgin records in France? So in fact, he franchised out the company to 300 first fans who now represent the same philosophy and mentality of the Apple brand in all those countries. So of course, by the way, Richard Branson said in this interview, don't worry, my mother is already 93, so you'll have to live with me for another 30 years at least. Yeah, but now I'm sure that if Mr. Branson goes to retire on one of these islands that he owns, I'm pretty sure that this mentality of Virgin will be spread further by all these people who now are in Virgin businesses. So, that is where I was until a couple of years ago. I looked at what happened until 2000, and I see what has happened the last 10 years, and I see more concept brands, as I call them, come to the show. But now I think the last couple of years, some things really are happening, which are, as I could say, in favor of concept brands. And the crisis, in fact, was a catalyst. Capitalism has shown its downside. It went to the extreme, and people don't accept anymore that they are the victim for that. Well, we heard earlier today that only a couple of percentage of people own most of the value in the world, which is ridiculous. People don't like these things anymore. Individualism, where people thought in 80s and 90s that we would all become super egos, only consuming stuff, is a bit over the top. People again want to belong. We are mammals. Yeah, we want smaller groups where we can live, exchange, and be with other people. But also the planet here, people, profit, planet. It's been shouted for 20 years now, but at this moment, people really are doing it. They are, as they say, voting with their wallet. They buy the solar panels. I threw out my BMW after 30 years, and now I am in the Mitsubishi, what is it, PHEV electric. I thought Mitsubishi was the lousiest brand coming from Japan. And now I'm driving it, and I'm proud of it. Yeah, it feels good. Maybe when I started my company, I wanted to be this guy in advertising driving the BMW. But I've been over that top now, and I feel fine with what I have now. So authenticity and real values of company become more and more important. But also, there's a growing aversion, and you see this on the web as well, to what I call fake marketing brands. There's an antipathy against more. Are marketing companies really giving us choice? I was in Australia with Christmas, and I see the same Nivea, I see the same products, the same Vase, the same Kellogg's cornflakes that I see in America and South America, everywhere. Is that choice? No. Please give me the local beer, not the Heineken. Yeah, I have that at home. But also, as I said, the same. There are so many products now looking the same as their competitors. Both, by the way, in products and also in their advertising methods, they are all almost look at commercials for shampoo, girl waving her hair, yeah, it's having an ingredient XYZ, and that's it. Hardly any difference. And also what is happening now, a revaluation of craftsmanship. We've had so much artificial stuff that now we want to buy that chair that is handmade by this one guy. It may be more expensive, but we like the story behind it, instead of the mess that is being sent to us. And also revaluation of regionality. Things coming from your own region. More and more restaurants now don't import from the other side of the world. They have vegetables and fruits that come from 10 kilometers around their town, like it was 200, 300 years ago. Closer relationships. And also a growing distrust in large brands. Well, as said earlier, only a small percentage of people own most of the world. But now, and I'm an Apple fan, but I'm a bit less an Apple fan. And also a bit less Starbucks fan. And a bit less Google fan. Because those are the companies, by the way, like IBM, like the Rolling Stones, like everybody, who have put all their profits in tax havens. I checked it this week. $1.6 trillion has been brought into tax havens by the top 500 US companies. $1.6 trillion. And here it comes. And also, like the former speaker said, because there's now more transparency, we know. And we will no longer accept. Yeah, of course, we are not there yet, but there is a movement from people that we should really change things here. Another thing is people don't believe that mergers are good for them. You know all these press releases. With this merge, we'll even be giving better service to our consumers. Whether it be your electricity company merging or healthcare organizations, we know it's not true. The merge was for other reasons. Personal reasons, stock exchange reasons, whatever. Why should Sepp Miller and InBev, the number 1 and 2 in the beer world, merge? To give us more of the same. Yeah? At this moment in the Netherlands alone, there are 200 new young specialist beer brands coming up. And people love them. And they are prepared to pay a price which is almost double of the Heineken and the Amstel and all those similar products. And also there, we know that a lot of people or companies who try to do sustainability or social responsibility things, it's mainly greenwashing. We asked the PR company to write a nice piece of text in our annual report, and that's it. So really things are changing here. So forget the USP. Live what I call the EEP, the ethical and environmental proposition. Does not mean that every concept brand has an ethical or an environmental. It can be both, it can be one of them, and of course it can be mixed with other values that the company stands for. Brands should move from telling about what they have, what? They should move to why are we on Earth? What is our mentality? What is our vision on the world? What is our vision on people, on the category in this market? Brands should stand for something they truly believe in, and that's why a company name is called Be As You Are, and behave accordingly. Behave as you are. I advise all my clients to never reposition, because it would mean that if you are a person and you have some personality problems, that you would be able to change 180%. And I see brands as persons. Well, we all know if we have some personal problems and we go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, he will always tell us, I can't change you, but I can help you to live with it. But the marketing people now start to think that we can change a brand overnight by doing a new campaign with a new advertising agency. If you look at Virgin, Nike and all these others, also Ben & Jerry's and those type of brands, they never changed their manifesto. They never played with their logo. Yeah, it's their icon, like we used them in religion in the past. Yeah, it's the core of the company, not the factories. The brand idea is the core of the companies. Factories, you just buy the stuff somewhere else. That's a big change here. Brand communication must move from endless repetition, same message, over and over again, with less budget, but with nicer activities in society. We can get closer to the clients, get free publicity around it, in whatever way people like to do it. And this is very difficult. It was so simple 10 years ago when you are the client to sign off the media plan. Wow, we buy 2,000 GRPs on all these channels. Yeah, the new marketing is about how to behave in society plan. And that means that you have to manage consistency, the core values, what the brand stands for, with diversity, to actively, every time in another way, bring that same message. And that's why I call also from macro to multi-micro behavior. Virgin is doing a lot of activities, a lot of funny things. In this country here, in that country there. Sometimes they reach the national or international press. But it's the smaller groups where they live, instead of sending over masses, which is what I called the old marketing. And also the death of old marketing, I believe. So, finally, and of course, you'll have to buy my book to have it more in depth, but just to give you some hints on how can I become a concept brand? Well, like the Virgin people and those people that just started from scratch, because it was this entrepreneurial creative mind that started this company. But I'm now sure, especially if I look what we've done the last couple of years, that you can move from a product brand to a concept brand. But it's absolutely necessary, and I have to say this because sometimes marketing or communication people come to us from a big company, 3, 4 layers under the management, and they want to do more of concepting. And I always ask, does your boss know? Yeah. No, but when we're ready, we'll first present it to our boss, and then he will present it to and then over 5 months from now, we'll bring it to the board. If the board is not involved from the start, I will not do it. But by the way, if somebody else will do it, it will not work. Like Mr. Branson is Virgin, like Phil Knight was Nike, and there's still a couple of guys there. They have invented this beautiful value. They will nurture it. They will make sure nobody is playing with it. So it's very important, and I call this top-down. Of course, in the last 20 years, we don't like the word top-down because we're all democratized. Fine, I'm truly behind that, but Steve Jobs is about top-down. In his case, maybe a bit too much for a lot of people around him, but it should come from the top. Rewrite the brand in something like, what is our role in society? Like Nike said, we want to help you get just a bit more sportive. That's it. Yeah? Like Apple said, Be part of this community. They don't talk about computers, iPhones and stuff. Yeah? What is your mission? Please read the book that once was written by Ben and Jerry's. It's called Double Dip. I like the subtitle. Lead with your values and earn some money too. In that order. And, as said by Peter earlier, start inside out. It should be an exercise in a small group in the company, and of course, checking with society, checking with other peoples. And when you found it, bring it to your first people in the company, but also your suppliers, your nearest clients, maybe even your competitor. It's indeed an inside out, as we say, the stain of oil that slowly grows and grows the group of ambassadors. From product or lifestyle communications, lifestyle, which we had in the 80s, in the 90s, when you are this, you should buy our brand. Yeah, white beaches, Bacardi parties, all this fake marketing stuff. I call it mentality communication. Yeah, when Richard Branson opened Virgin Airlines, he had only one plane at the time. British Airways just had taken off the British flag of the planes because they wanted to show they were everywhere in the world and they had art from over the world on their tails of the airplanes. So what did Richard Branson do? He took a pot of paint and he had the British flag painted on this tail of the airplane. And of course he had a lot of journalists around it. Yeah, with a bottle of champagne, giving birth to his first plane. It was in the press everywhere in the world. Yeah, especially when British Airways asked a lawyer to fight against that. We are the largest airline in Brittany. And of course, Richard Branson also hired a lawyer. Was he interested to win? No. He saw the communicative potential that he would be talked about in TV shows, in the press, for weeks and weeks and weeks. What did this cost him? No mass media budget on TV, a pot of paint, and a couple of glasses of champagne. This is just one example of many, many, many companies like Virgin are doing. And why can't you do it if you are with a more established company? When you hire people, when I hire people, I never look at resumes. They're all me too. I'm Jim or I'm Ellen. I did this study here at this university. I was very active in the student club. I did my, they're all the same. And by the way, they send the same to 20 other companies who says that they're interested in you. When you hire people, you should hire people that when you talk with them, that you feel they're so fond of that brand that they may work with when they are with you. Those people you should hire, even if they are dyslexic or may not be good in English or in some aspect. Have somebody else do it. Hire brand fans. Yeah? If people cannot be evangelists for your brand, don't hire them. And also, and of course there's many other things, reconsider existing things. Why do we sponsor the Formula 1 already for 10 years? Why do we sponsor this and this and that? Yeah, because the CEO one time liked Formula 1. Well, he's gone for 10 years now. Dare to reconsider all those activities in terms of, if this is our new brand idea, our new mission and vision, is this kind of sponsoring helping that vision? Or when we have joint ventures with other partners, do those partners share some of the same values where in fact we strengthen each other? Yeah, and I think if you look at that, you can save a lot of money that is gone away in old-fashioned mass media, and you can readjust it to sponsorships or any kind of activities that, well, share your value in the outside world. So, to conclude, formulate what your belief is, what your role in society is. By the way, be patient. If the CEO says, well, I want more money end of the year in the bank, tell him he should be patient. Yeah? But this manifesto should be embraced by everybody in the company. And from there on, behave as you are in every detail of what you do in the company. Thank you very much.